we need to talk about Diabound immediately. Hi everybody! This is actually my very first YouTube video, so I will apologize about the sound because I'm just doing it with my earpods. I don't have my GoPro camera and microphone here, so I will just do it like this. I'm so sorry, next video will be better sound quality. I also apologize for the setting. I'm just sitting on my living room floor because this is where I like to sit with my cup of tea and just talk about shit with people, and that's exactly what's going to happen today. And I'm also sorry for my English. I'm not an English native speaker. I am actually from Belgium and I'm a Dutch speaker, so that's why my English can sound a little weird from time to time, so I already apologize for that. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce words or if I use the wrong words for some things. It's just because I'm searching for my English knowledge in me at the moment, but I'm choosing to do this in English because I just want to talk about this with as many people as possible, but also because I always read my books in English, so I think it's easier for me to talk about them in English as well because I experienced them in English, and I just think if you read the books in English, they are so much more powerful and beautiful because I really think it's a beautiful language to write in and to read. So without further ado, I want to talk about the Diabound series, the first two books. The third book is still coming out. It comes out next year, July 2027. And when I tell you that these books captivated me, they sucked me in, and they took me along the wildest roller coaster that I have ever been on. It's not even enough. I read these books, both of them, 1,200 pages in 8 days, and I am going to be very honest, I was very scared to finish the second book, Fury Bound, just because I already knew I was going to have a book hangover so bad. I was going to fall into this hollow space and not know what to do with my life next. And I know this sounds very extreme, but these books are actually the very first romantasy books I have ever read. So I didn't know what to expect. My sister just gave these to me. She moved in with my mom again and she was like, I have these books, they're amazing, read them please. And I was like, yeah sure, I have nothing to do in the evening. I'll just give all my time. And I did, and I'm so happy I did, because these books are amazing. They really are, I think, a perfect first step in the world of romantasy, and that is actually also why I wanted to make this video. I am a very emotional reader. I also cry at movies. I cried during these books. I was emotionally all over the place during reading these, and I just feel the need to talk about it because they really touched me. And I don't know how to place those feelings because at the moment I finished the second book. I am waiting for the third book to be out next year, and I am just unable to give this story and give this adventure and give the relationship between all these people a place that I can just move on for a year without closure or without knowing for sure how everything is going to end. And that is why I really want to make this video, and I actually really want to make this YouTube channel, because this will not really be a review. This will more be like, let's just sit down, take some coffee, take some tea, take a glass of wine, do whatever you want, boo, and let's just talk about this because I need it out of me. I need to talk about it, and I hope I can reach as many as you as I can, and we can start a conversation in the comments, and we can share our point of views, because this is why I really want to do it. I just really want to know and see if these books, and the genre of romantasy really hits home with other people as well, as much as it did for me, because it really touched some sensitive snares that I have. It really unlocked some feelings and emotions I didn't know I had, and it really captivated me in a way I didn't know was possible. A story on pages could captivate me. And if you have some recommendations for me for a next book series that I can start reading while I wait for the third book to come out, please let me know in the comments, because I think these books are amazing and they really captivated me. But I have the feeling that there are more like these out there. I just don't really know where to start looking for them. I already at the moment have Fourth Wing ready to start. I will give that a try, and who knows, it will captivate me as well. I've heard a lot of good things about them, and I will make a video about it as well, because I know now that if I ever am captivated by a story like I was with these, I will need to talk about this again, and I will need to make a new video with better sound and a better setting, and we will talk about it again. So I'm sorry about my bramble. I'm just going to start talking about the books. If you have not read these, if you have not read or finished these books, or if you haven't finished the second book, only the first one, just click away from this video, because I am going to give a lot of spoilers. I am not going to skip over things. I am going to lay it out all for everybody. I am going to tell you exactly how I felt in certain scenes, about the story, about the endings, about the plot twists, about the people, about everything. I am going to lay it all out there, what it did to me. So please, if you haven't finished these, just feel free to click away. I don't want to spoil anything for you. And when you're done reading these, just come back and join us, take some tea, and just brattle with us about these books. So, first, Dire Bounds. So, this is the first book. And I think, we all know the story here. We all read these, so we know the story. And I'm just going to dive in and start with the fact that this book is beautiful. This book is beautiful. I am a sucker for a pretty book. I just think it adds more to the fantasy and to the whole beauty of the story, because the book really shows what you can expect from it. It's mystical, it's beautiful, there are the daggers and the wolves. I mean, it can't be any more clear. And as if that is not enough, you also have these beautiful drawings in the front. You have one, and then in the back you have this one. And that last drawing, I kid you not, when I was reading and I saw this scene in the book, I was like, I'm going to keep reading till I have this one, because this must be a scene as well, and I want to read it. I want to read this. I want to read this. So, that's why it only took me 4 days. But the reason why I was so intrigued is because I am a sucker for love. I am a sucker for a good love story, and that's also why I love this genre, because it has it all. It has the fantasy, it has the magic, it has the political stance, it has the hard situations and the tensions and the adventure, but it also has like the desire and the lust and the love and the emotions, and it took me on a roller coaster. So in the first story, of course, we follow Marin, which is a hard-headed, stubborn little one, but she's a tough one, and I really appreciate that. She really is a tough one who has like the weight of the world on her shoulders. She has to take care of everybody and everything. So I really like that in her character. And of course, we all know how it goes. She bonds to the wolf Anassa, and she starts her trial because she actually wanted to go search for her sister. That's her motivation behind everything, which I think is a lovely, beautiful storyline, because I have sisters myself and I would do exactly the same. I was so in tune with her motivation to get her sister back, and I mean it, the way she was kidnapped, I was telling my sister about this on the phone when I was reading these scenes. I was like, the emotional roller coaster. Like, you have the loving of Killian, who we are going to go into depth. Yes, we are. You have like the loving Killian, and then you have the heat between them in the alley. And then she goes inside and her sister is gone. And I texted my sister and I was like, I couldn't handle the switch of emotions during these pages, because at first I was, then I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh, and I was like, no. I'm sorry. But like, it was such, that was like the first thing that I was like, oh my God, like, I should have seen it coming, but I didn't see it coming, you know? And she was gone, and that's her motivation. She's just like, I'm going to the front lines, and then the whole bonding and the trial, and it was the perfect segue into the whole story, and I really enjoyed that, because there is a very realistic motivation behind it for her sister. So I loved that. And I really love the pacing of the book as well, because I have kind of a tiny little ADHD brain, so I really need switches. I really need a good pacing. I cannot read books that are like very long and just very the same always. I need those tensions, I need those switches between the emotions, and I need those twists. So this was perfect for me in that sense. The pacing was amazing. There was never a dull moment, and even the more quieter moments that we really had to like tunnel into something and really get to the nitty gritty of it. It was done in a way that it was reading so smoothly, and I really enjoyed it. I never had the moment that I was like reading an essay or something to get the information I needed. So that was very fun. It always came in a very quick bump, that hub moving on way, and I loved it. So the story, I was a big fan. I was a big fan also about the political stance. That was also something that I really enjoyed. Also the plot twist that Killian was the prince. It was like, oh wow, okay. And then Marin noticing that actually the Bounded, they are the Bounded, they are the elite, but actually they're nothing more than like just a bunch of meats for the royals to pick in. So that's something that I thought was very nice, that Marin really like made that switch, because she wasn't raised as a Bounded, so she immediately had that switch. But then again, there were some of the people who were also Direbound that also noticed this. So it was fun that you have like this small political thing about the king who thinks he can just do whatever the frick he wants. So I really enjoyed that. It really gave a whole new depth to the story. I was smitten by Killian. I am not going to lie. I would have been Marin as well. I fell for that guy hard. I was like, damn girl, you really got the perfect man. But then again, how? The way he was treating her, and the way he was, that's exactly what is the point of the book, to make you really engaged in that relationship and see the beauty in that relationship, and really trying to hold on to that relationship. Because in the beginning, I was texting my sister and I was like, oh no, don't tell me she's going to let Killian fall for this Stark guy. No. Even though Stark was mysterious and rough, and I like myself a rough man, really do. But like, I was like, she has something good going with Killian. And my sister just answered some laughing emojis, because she knew what was going to happen. We all know what is going to happen. So I was Team Killian, even though I really enjoyed the lust and the desire between Stark and Meryn, because even though we don't have Stark's point of view at that specific moment in the story, you can really see that she sees something, but not a lot, you know, because as we know him, he's a closed book. We don't really get a lot of them in a lot of him during the first parts of the story. We just get just enough to get an idea of who he is and what he is. So that's I think that's something very interesting and really intrigued me. But I was rooting for her and Killian. So it was like, yeah, I know there is a desire, there is a lust with Stark, there is something she can't explain. And of course, we play into this in the second book so well. But it was in the beginning, I was Team Killian, okay? And now I'm ashamed of it. Because when I had that plot twist at the end, I switched teams so bad, so quickly. It was like, okay, Team Stark, I'm done. And you can read it again in my face. I was reading that scene when she killed his father. I was like this, and then I wrote like, Meryn, what did you do? And I was like, oh no, Killian, what are you doing? And I was so into it, and I was so emotionally thrown away, and I was like, what is happening? What is happening? So it was, for me, it was the perfect plot twist. So I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed that it wasn't like in the end of the story, it was like in the end, near the end, but we still have some story after that part. So that's actually something I really quite enjoyed. I also enjoyed the revelation of Stark. I knew there was something about him, like I said before, but it really melted my heart the way it was written and the way it was said, because at the end, it's like, oh my God, it was always him. You know that feeling, like it was always him. The separate room, the guy in the town square that tried to, attack her. The dress. Can we acknowledge the dress? When he said, did you know how hard it was to see you with him in the dress I picked for you? My heart dropped. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, shit. The hand on her back to protect her from the royals who were just like trying to strip her. The dance he wanted to start with her and wanted to have with her. It had such a deeper meaning, like just one sentence, and it was like, oh my God, like my world exploded, and I really appreciated that so much. I appreciated it so much, and it really like had me fired up for the second story, because as we know, I like a good love story, and I really wanted to see them develop. I really do, because that was for me, that was a sign of like, okay, they hate each other, but they want each other, and we are going to see a lot more of this in the second book, and I'm all here for it. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm invested. Being that, but besides that, I was also very invested in the turning point of Meryn's sister turning into a siphon. That's also like the part of the story, of the plot twist at the end, that I was like, okay, yes, because siphons are enemies. They have always been seen as the enemy, and now we just learned that actually they ruled everything. They used blood magic, so we don't know the real history of everything. And now your sister, the person that the person that motivated this whole storyline, the person that you were after this whole time to save, is now turned into a siphon. So I was like, okay, we're going to learn about siphons in the second book. So my last emotion when I finished this one was actually just like, I just want to start the second one as soon as possible. I want to start that second one right now. So I did. I finished this, and 5 minutes later, because I had to run upstairs to grab it, I started this one. And what I really loved about this one is that it really just picked up on this. It was, we ended this one, okay, we're starting here where we ended in the other one. And I really enjoyed that because it reads easy. It's like you're reading one big book. And I really appreciated it. I really thought it was a nice way of switching between the two books, because you're not really switching, you're just going along with the story, which I really enjoyed that part. But this book actually, in many ways, I think it's better than the first one, in my opinion, because it just focuses a lot on the slow burn between Stark and Meryn, which I'm saying it for the third or the fourth time. I'm a sucker for, I love a good love story. So I really enjoyed this slow burn, this tension, this heat, but not giving into it. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it in here more than there, even though here are like a lot of more spicy scenes, a lot of earlier in the book. Like Killian and her, they were in a relationship, they had the spicy tango. We all know they were good scenes, they were amazing. Wrong guy, but perfect scene. So I really enjoyed it there. It was like, oh, like we're really doing this. But here it's different. Here it's the lust, it's the heat they describe, they feel for each other, but like the not giving in, because they are still slow, getting annoyed by each other. They don't know each other, they don't have the full view of each other, and you can really see them develop and get to know each other in that slow burn in the first part of the book. Also with Noemi, who came into the story, the beautiful redhead. I hated her at first. I mean, I was like, girl, I don't have time for you. I don't have time for you. You can go get Stark. No, Stark is not yours. But then eventually, it's needed for the storyline. It's needed for the emotional connection of the readers. But like you can really see them grow. You can really see the softer side of Stark, which I also really enjoy. Because I don't like Stark. I really do like. No, wait. I love Stark. I am smitten about Stark. Not because he's like this bad boy, or because he has like this rough exterior, even though like, okay, it's completely my type. My husband is also a very big, broad trained guy with tattoos, so it's like, okay, I get it, like, okay. But the thing that makes me like Stark so much, and please let me know if it's the same for you in the comments or not, is the fact that he has that softer side, but just not for everybody. And that's something that really captivated me in his personality. He's this rough protector dude with the tattoos. He's a murder machine, and he is good at it. He's trained for it, and you can see it in the battle scenes. He knows what he's doing. It goes with an effortlessness that is like crazy. He's trained for this, but he has this softness to him that you can only see when you take the time to see it, like Noemi did when they grew up, or when, for example, when Meryn finally started to soften a bit against him, and she really started to see why he was doing certain things, like in Lynn's fall with the cuts on her legs. That's a moment he can be very rough in the way he brings it, but like the intention behind it is very soft, very nurturing, very protecting, and that's something that we start to see in this book. And I really love that. It really made me so captivated by him, and it really made me root for him. And I really am rooting for him still. So, but yeah, the slow burn, it really got to me, because it was 300 pages of I want him, he wants her, but they can't, they think they can't, they don't want it, but they want it, but they don't want it, but they want it, and then after 300 pages, I think, I have to look, I think it's 300, when he says, When he says in that forest, when they had that fight so she could get her anger out, when he says I'm done denying it, and he swoops her around and finally kisses her. Finally, that was a moment that I just dropped down my book and I needed a second, because I felt such a relief, like, okay, we've been building up to this and now it's there, they've done it, it's there, and I needed that. That's something that really intrigued me with this story. The lingering, the lust, the slow burn of their desire finally exploding within them. And that's just something I really enjoyed here. Oh, that was better than in the first one. And also the spicy scenes with Stark. That's something that I also just noticed when I was reading them, when they had the sensual, intimate moments, that they were very different from the one with Killian. The one with Killian also, at that moment, they were like, in my opinion, intimate and loving. But when you read those with Stark, you start to realize that they weren't that loving with Killian. Killian was rough, Killian was very dominant, and even towards the end of the first book, she said a few times, like, on the edge of pain, or she wasn't following anymore. So you can really see them grow a bit more distant in that intimate part of their relationship in the first one. And then when you read the intimate scenes in the second one, you really get that, you know, that switch in your head, like, oh wait, like this is a whole other kind of intimacy and dominance, because Stark is still dominant. Stark is still the one who's like swooping her around, picking her up, throwing her down, but like with a protective way, like his hand behind her head, asking her what she wants. So you really see the difference between the intimate scenes in the two books with the two people, which is also, for me, a very clear and distinctive view on their connection as well. It's like the proof that it's a deeper connection. It's not just lust, it's more, but the intimate scenes really tie it all together in that sense, in that kind of way. So that part of the second book I thought was a very good, and actually better than in the first one. But what I had a more difficult time with was the pacing of the Finding of the Tears. So the storyline, we have the villain, we had a connection with Killian, we had a connection with everybody in the first book, and just that position switched, and Killian became the villain with an Ellen star within him, and it just went smoothly into the second book. And then the second book, yeah, it's all focused on defeating him, of course, and then also working together, getting to know a lot more about the Siphons and working together with them, which I really enjoyed. The worlds expanded, you get to know a lot of the history, we got to know a lot of the Siphons, we got to know a lot of the truth that actually was kept away in the first one, which is lovely. But the pacing of the Finding of the Tears was a bit slow from time to time for me, because sometimes we just lingered a bit long in a scene that didn't really need to be that long. But it's not that bad that I was like, oh, I don't want to read this anymore. Like, it was just, I noticed it in difference with the first book, that the pacing was a bit different regarding the love story, but also the quests. So there was something that I was like, okay, yeah, it's a bit more slow, but it's still in a pace that I can enjoy it and love the story. The thing I was a bit bothered with also at the end is that the pacing of the Finding of the Tears was like a bit slower, but then the killing of Killian was like this. And I also realized that the fighting scene, the last fighting scene, the last big boss, it cannot be for like 3 chapters, of course not. We cannot make a fighting scene last 20 pages or more, but it was like very quick, and it actually, in my humble, honest opinion, they didn't even need the tears to do it. They spent all this time, you know, having an alliance with the Siphons, which will probably be a very distinctive thing in the third book, so needed in the story here to elaborate on that in the third book. But they had this alliance, they went with Lucien and Ilias to all these tears and to all these quests, and at the end of the day she had all the tears, and Killian was still flicking away. I mean, Alistair and Killian were still like just flicking away her magic like it was nothing. So eventually it wasn't the tears that got her the strength to kill Killian. It was actually more Stark being with her in her mind, convincing her she could do it. So actually we spent all this time more to build up for the third book, for the plot twist and the third book, than for the actual ending scene of the second one, in my opinion. So that was like, okay, oh, he's dead. It was like, okay, I guess Killian's dead now. Which also is like a bit of a brain fart for me, that we spent also this time to really see also the struggle between Killian and Alistair, because he doesn't want to be possessed, but then eventually she just kills him. Like, there is nothing with that connection to that part of the story we can do anything now, because she was going to kill him anyway. So who cares if he was convincing her in the shadow world, trying to rule without Alistair? He was going to die anyway. So okay, I guess. But it was a nice addition to the story, because it kept your hopes up for Killian as well in a way, and it also made you guess his intentions. That's something that really was my struggle. I was like, is he now loving her for real and wanting to rule with her, or is he just using her for his own gain, or is this Alistair? So it was like, I really enjoyed that confusion, because it makes you think about the book when you put it down at night and try to sleep. So okay. It just kept me awake for a long time. But yeah, that's something that really, like, the quickness of it, and the just throwing away that plot line in a way was a bit shocking to me. But I mean, it was still okay. I really still appreciated and enjoyed every single bit of it. So that was nice. I also liked Noemi's input in the last scene, because she had a very difficult story to bear. She had a very strong story there was some time giving to it, but like it really hit hard, being a woman especially. So I'm really happy she got her revenge there. So that was a nice addition to the last scene. I think she was used again by Alistair, and then she had her revenge, which I absolutely love. They really did him dirty there with the testicles, but I'm all here for it. I would do the same. So so yeah, go Noemi. I was rooting for her in that moment. So yeah, that was actually very nice. And also the thing I also wanted to say is, the only thing that annoys me about Meryn is that the fact that in the first book, you can let me know if you agree or not, but in the first book, it's very annoying. I know she didn't want to be bonded to a dire wolf, and I know she didn't want to go through the trials, and I didn't know she didn't want all of that. She just wanted to save her sister, and I'm all open for that, and I'm all understanding about it. But after a while, I was just like, sister, get it together, go through it, please. But because there was like there was a moment that in the story she didn't just started to get in the way of herself, but also from Anassa and for other people of her pack. So that was actually something that was like, okay, when you notice it, and she was too stubborn to really notice it or want to change it, until at the end of the story she actually made that click. And I really appreciated that in the second story, in the second book, they took the time for her to have that talk with her friends, and especially with Anassa. So she had to talk with Venna for sure, she had to talk with her sister for sure, and she had to talk with Anassa, where she acknowledged, like, look, I waited centuries for something, for someone from the royal family to bond with me, and the moment it does, when after hundreds of years alone on a mountain, you reject me. And I was like, that was a very powerful move from Anassa, and I think that really switched their relationship as well, which made this one a lot more fun to see them develop as well as partners, as a team. So that was something I really enjoyed and appreciate as well. And then the slow pace at the end also. Like the death of Killian was very quick, the last fight. But then we have like this slight breather that everything is fine, everything is all good and good. And I really appreciated that. I needed that. After the emotional roller coaster of these two books, I needed that moment of peace, like, okay, he's dead, the kingdom is saved, she can just go, she can just have some time with Stark and just enjoy. And those few pages were like, all the adrenaline went out of my body, my emotions settled again, and I was like at peace for a moment. Like, okay, I needed this quick and good, all good. But then, of course, we know the plot twist, Stark's point of view, that he unwillingly gets the god of death again in the world, which I think makes a good storyline for the third book. And I'm really waiting for it, and I'm really excited to read that story. But again, it's like, it feels to me that it's a whole different story. Like, there is nothing here that we have a connection to that will, keep us a bit connected in the third one. Being, I don't have a connection to the Nocturne God. Absolutely not. I don't know him. We saw some visions, but not with enough information for him to really paint him as a villain. So that's something I think I think the third book, we will learn a lot during the story about the story. So I think that will be like a revelation, where here we already knew Killian, we already knew what he was capable of, we already knew this and that about the family. So it will be a whole other way of reading, but I think I trust the writer to do it in such a smooth and effortless way that we can still enjoy the third book, which also will probably, hopefully, mainly go about the depth in the relationship between Stark and Meryn, because they have a strong bond, they really have a good relationship. I love them together. I'm just focused on Stark and Meryn at the moment. And I just hope, I can't wait for the third one. I will read it immediately, and then I will come back here and give my review as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I'm a bit all over the place. I'm a very strongly emotional person, and I hope you could enjoy it. I hope you share your opinions and your points of views in the comments below, so we can have a discussion about the book, and maybe we can speculate a little about the third one as well. What you think is going to happen, what you think will happen to their relationship, and to the growth of Meryn and Stark. I really hope they keep the pace from like the both points of views in the book, because I really appreciated that a lot. So yeah, we just have to wait. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your patience. Let's have a discussion in the comments, as I already said. And yeah, I will just start my new series now. I'll see you when I'm done reading them. Thank you.